So Pan Asia Metals has a market cap of around 40 million. We've been in Southeast Asia for over 10 years and we've been focusing on the tin tungsten belt there. So there's two parts to our company. Part one is what we're doing in Southeast Asia is our pathway to early cash flow. We've got a lithium pegmatite style project down near Phuket. It has two prospects, one with 10.4 million tonnes. It's a lepidolite style. The Chinese are processing lepidolite very cheaply. And it's got a second prospect with an exploration target drill supported of 16 to 25 million tonnes. They're 8 Ks apart, so if you add them together, it's going to give us around 30 to 40 million tonnes, and we can upgrade through ore sorting to around 0.92% Li2O. But what's most important is not just grade, it's metallurgy, and it's your cost environment. So where we lose a little bit on our grade, we actually pick up in our met work. So we're getting recoveries up to 84% in our beneficiation, and in our lithium into solution, recoveries up to 88% into solution, and there's more work to come. So we think we're going to do much better. But more importantly is the question is a company our size, how are we going to finance this? So earlier this year, or actually just about a month ago, we entered into a MOU with a group called IRPC. It's a Thai-listed company, petrochemical company with industrial zones in Bangkok and with a want to be in lithium. They're in Aussie dollar terms, market capped at around 2.2 billion. But what's key here is IRPC's key shareholder with 45% is the Thai-listed group PTT with a market cap in Aussie dollars of 45 billion. And they're 51% owned by the Thai government. And the Thai government is very heavily focused on EV and battery policy. In fact, there's a competition in Southeast Asia. It's between Vietnam, Thailand, Malaysia and Indonesia. And what they want to do is be the biggest of both batteries and cars, EVs. Thailand's the largest producer of EVs in Southeast Asia at the moment, and it will probably retain that. And it will be the largest battery producer. The whole region is an emerging ecosystem. It's low cost. And Asia, including India and China, speaks for nearly 60% of global EV or ICE manufacturing, ICE vehicle manufacturing. So it's highly likely that that will turn into EVs. So being the only lithium developer in Southeast Asia with JORC resources, with growth opportunities, with balance sheet partners, and with a big market on our doorstep, we're really well positioned to build a fantastic project and deliver into it. In Vietnam, we recently entered into an MOU with a group called VinES. VinES is a sister company of VinFast. VinFast recently listed on the NASDAQ. It's a bit jumpy. Its market cap in US dollars seems to oscillate between about 35 billion and 90 billion or so, but it's a massive company, and VinES is going to be its battery supplier. VinES has chosen to enter into an MOU with Pan Asia Metals to look at a definitive agreement to build a standalone lithium conversion plant. So we will be looking to source feed if the definitive agreement is finished. But one of the key things in Vietnam and why we're in Southeast Asia is the low-cost environment. So our PFS is nearly finished. It'll be published pretty soon. We're just crossing the I's or dotting the I's and crossing the T's. But what we're seeing is that our CapEx will probably be about half of what you typically see in a Western country, and our OPEX will be quite low. But further to this, given our partners in Thailand and our partners in Vietnam, the opportunity to fund it is very strong. There's a lot of money in Asia. It's very interested in lithium, batteries and EVs. So that's our pathway to funding. So we're really, really well positioned. Now, moving on to South America, we're in Chile. So we announced this asset about 1 month ago. And a lot of people have been asking the question, why would you look at South America? Are you pivoting away from Thailand? Is there an issue there? That's not the case at all. In Thailand, I think we'll be capped at around 10 to 15,000 tonnes of LCE production for 10 to 15 years. In a low-cost environment, it's highly profitable. We expect it to be highly profitable, but I want the company to be bigger than that. So we've been looking at Chile for about 12 months, just under. And on the 1st of April, when Boric announced his lithium Chile strategy, and a lot of the market started saying they're going to nationalise Chile, which is a load of rubbish, we went in there, and as Rick Rule once said, when everyone's looking the other way, i.e. Argentina and Brazil, that's the time to pounce. And we picked up 1,600 square kilometres of prime brine and lithium exploration ground. This ground is located in northern Chile, about 150 k's north of Salar de Atacama, but much closer to the coast. What's interesting about this ground is that it is at around 8 to 1,100 metres. So it spans over a length of around 290 kilometres, has 7 prospects. Our key prospect is Salar Pindados. We call it Project Pink, and that has we have around 600 square kilometres of that. Plus we've got some salars to the north and south of it. So there's a couple of key factors here. One is we are 40 k's from the coast. We're 70 k's from Iquique, which is a population centre of 200,000, deep water port, a large airport and so on. Further to that, we've got the North-South American highway running basically through the spine of our projects. And we've also got the national grid running alongside our projects. So we would be one of the few lithium brine and clay companies in South America sitting on the grid on a highway close to a port. Further to this, we're at 1,100 metres, around 800 to 1,100 metres. Salar de Atacama is at around 2,200 to 2,300 metres. A lot of our peers in the Andes are around 3,500 to 4,500 metres. Now, the advantage here, there's 3 advantages. One is down where we are in northern Chile, we've got hyper-evaporation. So our evaporation rates will be much, much higher than even Salar de Atacama. Second, we're close to the coast. We're the only salars close to the coast. But what that means is that if we choose to do straight evaporation, we can do it fine. But if we've got to do water replacement, we can actually pump seawater and use that, so we don't have to do DLE. That might sound a bit odd, but going straight through one of our blocks are the water pipelines pumping salt water up into the Andes for the copper mines, so it's doable. So that actually positions us very well. Then third, if DLE gets up, and there's a lot of work happening on it, but right now it's not economic, but if it gets up, we can choose that. But we're not restrained. And one of the key things down where we are in the Atacama Desert is we don't have a lot of cultural or sort of villages to deal with as you do in the Andes. So we're positioned really well. So just to wrap up, so Pan Asian Metals, really its key focus is Southeast Asia. That's our pathway to early cash flow. We'll be lodging, or we'll be finishing our PFSs later this year and lodging our MLs at the end of this year and early next year. And then we go through the ML process, and while we're doing that, we'll finish through to DFS. Second, in Chile, where we're positioned, so we'd have one of the most strategically positioned portfolios of lithium brine and lithium clay assets in South America. That's our pathway to future growth. We're going to be starting drilling there in late September, early October on one of our small clay prospects. It's had previous drilling. It's like a coal seam, very homogeneous, and we expect to be able to generate a JORC resource a bit later this year. So that's a pretty fantastic start. That's Pan Asian Metals. Thank you.